What's up, guys? It's your boy SSG Lil in the building, and I'm back with another reaction video. Well, on to the next week's weekly rap reaction. And for the week that I'm covering, we have a rap from Rustage and a rap from Daddyphatsnaps. We're obviously going to start with the Rustage one. This is the Light Yagami Rap, Fear My Touch, by Rustage featuring McGwire. We all know the classic duo of Rustage and McGwire. If you've either seen my reactions to their music previously, or if you listen to them on your own, you already know they're fire. Rustage's fluid, quick rapping style with McGwire's vocals. I already know this one's about to be a hit. And I have seen Death Note. I know who Light Yagami is. Essentially a student who gets access to a Death Note from a Shinigami, a death god named Ryuk. And essentially if you write someone's name and whatever conditions for their death in the Death Note, they will end up dying, and in that specific way. Otherwise, I think it's just like a heart attack. Or they could get hit or something like that. And essentially he uses it against criminals and tries to play God. So yeah, I ain't gonna go no further, and I can't wait to hear Rustage and McGwire's take on Light Yagami. And you already know, before we get into it, to avoid a copyright strike, I am not associated with Death Note. I support the official release and the creators of the official release. Go support the official release for yourselves. And let's get right into this, y'all. Light Yagami Rap, Fear My Touch.
The world is rotten, man is kind when there's no better options. Made the laws up just to find the problems. When the social contracts redefine our conscience, put a silver bullets in these monsters. Hate to see power like this end up squandered. I write the name, then the fate that I've conjured. Rewrite the earth in my image and look down and wonder. In the dark they come with open arms. I know I lit the spark, now they've been blown apart. With every inch remark I make a broken heart. I'm gonna bring the flood, my pen like Noah's Ark. I know my chosen path, I'm a martyr. They say I go too far, I go farther. There ain't a blow or mark in my armor. Watch every piece I play like sonatas. You wanna know what it's like in the darkness? Load up the ink in my pen like a cartridge. I'll be the one to select like I'm Darwin, feel like an artist. Way I'm correcting mistakes in the margin. Only want justice if you're not the target. Morals are black until I turn them scarlet. I pave a way through the pain and the carnage. They need a god and a god they've been granted.
Spotlight drifting, hoping that I drown. And dark eyes shifting, pull me further down. Front lines in the war. They run like never before. And I feel the rush. All should feel my touch.
Fear my touch, the acting half-phobic. Tears of blood, the world they see is hopeless. Years to come, they always see my motive. Script is set, I'm just the one who wrote it. Josh is the medicine, high up the doses. Call me a seraphim, apotheosis. They all been questioning, know that I know since I bring the pain to these sinners like Moses. Watch them drop like ring of roses. Man and God are living symbiosis. Storm the rocks, the sins have been eroded. Lay the bare and let them all expose it. Others plant the seed, but I will grow it. Man is sick, I'll be the diagnosis. Overthink, I need no time to process. Watch them as they grieve their final moments. I am the God of this earth, I am the one they deserve. Look at my body of work. If they could follow the herd, then the shepherd be willing to honor the words. Reforming their faith like the Protestant church. Lend me your voice and your promise is heard. Let all the hatred be lost in the person. No, I'll be the light through the fog and the murk. I'll be the light in the shadows. I'll be the light when they're drawn to the gallows. Hand cross the keys, we can talk like pianos. Lay out the fates in the cards like a tarot. I got a page in the paper, my ammo. Straight through the heart like an arrow. I leave them all up in smoke like tobacco. Justice is narrow, cause they wanted God, but their hopes are too shallow.
Spotlight drifting, hoping that I drown. And dark eyes shifting, pull me further down. Front lines in the war. The road
All right, y'all. That was the Light Yagami Rap, Fear My Touch by Rustage featuring McGwire. Yo, like I know Light Yagami is meant to be a bad guy, which is why they meant to use such a darker tone, especially when most of the show is about death. It's literally called Death Note. But man, having the clock tick in the background, I'm like, oh, give it a little ominous vibe to it. And like I said, McGwire with the choruses, man, when he's like, spotlights drifting, hoping that I drown in the dark eyes, shifting, pulls me further down. I'm like, ooh, hold up. I'm looking like, bro, am I in like some sort of choir class? Am I like, what is happening? Like, this sounds like just a normal choir. And he was hurting it. Whoever made the visual talk about pulls me further down, and then you have the image of Ryuk coming out of whatever circle, looking dead at you with his eyes. Like, that was genius. That was genius, and also that looked a tad bit scary. And then you see McGwire, he like ramps it up back, you know, with more of that beat. As soon as the beat drop, boom, front lines in the war. They can run like never before. I'm like, ooh. He said, and I feel the rush. I'm like, bro, I had to put my hand up here. Cause I'm like, the high note that he got on that. And he said, all should fear my touch. I'm like, ooh. And I definitely like Rustage, bro. That man used so many biblical oh my god, references. I almost said recipe, like it was recipes. He used so many biblical references and all that, bro. Talk about my pen is Noah's Ark, and talk about man make laws just to point out the flaws. I'm like, ooh. And he said men are only kind when there's no other option. I'm like, ooh. And I like how he talked about he's the God that they've been granted. Like, anyone asks him to be a God. Like, that shows how highly self-centered he is. As far as he was in the show, that's how he felt. And talk about all the blood and he leaves hearts broken and stuff. I'm like, ooh. Then when he turned up near the end, I'm like, with the second verse, and then I'm like, ooh, hold up. And basically saying, you asked for a God, but you were too shallow. Like, I'm the light in the fog and the murk. I'm like, because his name is Light Yagami, and he sees himself as a God that could cleanse the world. I'm looking like, what? And he said something like he like to plague like Moses or something. I'm like, oh, hold up. That's why I said the references to the Bible was crazy. But again, we're talking about a character who essentially sees himself as a god trying to control and restore order. So you can't really blame him for dropping all them hints all throughout. But man, this was just an amazing video. So great job to Rustage, great job to McGwire. Man, and everyone who worked on this track. This is absolutely amazing, y'all. Excellent job. On to the next one. And now we have a rap from Daddyphatsnaps. This is the Cyberpunk Edgerunners Rap, Cyber Psycho by Daddyphatsnaps. And it seems like this is going to be another solo track, but as we all know and all heard, DPS knows how to flow even when he's solo on the track by himself. And just like I said in the previous videos, seeing Cyberpunk Edgerunners, I know since these are late reactions, I'm a little late. Like, the show is like months old now, almost a year old. And like I said, street kid who's in a world essentially technology based, and some people are just looking to try to keep getting upgrades, but they come with a very dangerous consequence in the end. And once again, that's all I'll say. If you've seen the show, you know. And yeah, I can't wait to hear DPS's Daddyphatsnaps take on Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And you already know, before we get into it, to avoid a copyright strike, I am not associated with Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I support the official release and the creators of the official release. So support the official release for yourselves. And let's get right into this, y'all. Cyberpunk Edgerunners Rap. Cyber Psycho.
Electronic arms, it makes it hard to get in touch. You really thought I did it then? Well, you ain't seen the level up. Trigger round to the gutter, leave them belly up. Round every trigger, I be getting nuts. Pause. Cleaner in my fist, I spray a mark and heat gone. Time to meet well, whatever religion that he on. Sleepwalk, mowing these lawns, my green lawn. But I feel as though I'm losing my mind at seesaws. I'm in charge, bitch, fuck you thought. Thought you higher than the best, I want the drugs you bought. Tailor-made, I'm just too sharp. I cut through cloth and cut through cloth and body, then cut through cloth. We running through you, bitch. Red alert, red dot sighted between your retinas. Execution, a messenger, I do all of it's fender word. Peckerwords get a pepper with letter plethora, deader word. Sending them to the nether and let the predators get to work. Roll with us. Know this road will take your soul with it. Catch a body, here we go. Whoa, do you wanna get it? Oh, better know. So I heard you wanna roll with us. Know this road will take your soul with it. Ain't no limit where we go. No, cause we the realest in this ho. And it's anywhere you roll. Everybody around me, they ain't getting me. Cause when you're underwater, only thing you have the will to breathe. I was never given anything, now I'ma get it free. All I need is one more piece.
Warning. You are at full capacity. Warning. Warning. You are now going psycho.
All I see is red, then I see double, so in my eyes, that's double cash. When you see me, double time with the two beams gleaming, that's double bad. When you see me, you can duck, double jab, 1-2 like a button mash. Hands to your two-piece button mash. Hands to your throat like I'm stuffing cash. Got a double back for the duffel bag, leave you with another half, it doesn't match. Low brass, I let the trumpet blast. What's that? Muzzle blast. What's that? Another cap. What's that? Another clap. What's that? Another bag. I don't feel so good. Oh damn. Going up the grid, your boys off the hinges. I ain't seeing clear, but no, I'm never missing. Body shaking, but my aim and never fidget. Enemy in front of me, and know the difference. Enemy in front of me, they both forget it. Enemy in front of me, they both ain't living. I don't even know who I am anymore. So why the fuck would I feel horrible when killing them? There's up in the weapon, I step on the scene and bam up. You flexing on me, I stretch the attendance with broken skeleton. Dog in this life was for you. You saw you reaping the benefits. Had your whole life before you, not one that brought you and ended it.
Alright, y'all. That was the Cyberpunk Edgerunners Rap Cyber Psycho by Daddyphatsnaps. Yikes. Woo. That intro though. That weird rap type vibe. Can anyone tell me why that made me think of his Omni-Man rap? How he started with that one? I don't even know. Could be similar instrumentals, who know. But it sounded crazy. And I love that chorus. Roll with us. Know the road will take your soul with it. Catch a body and we go, whoa. You want to get involved, gotta know. Like, you want to come and roll with us. Know the road gonna take your soul with it. Oh my gosh. Ain't limit to where we go. Cause we the realest in this. And that's anywhere you roll with us. I'm like, ooh, hold up. I love all the bars, bro. Especially ones talk about upgrades and shit. And when he said to cut the cloth line, and he was like flipping it like 3 or 4 times in the way he was saying it, I'm like, ooh, hold up. It had me jamming. It had me getting into it, getting immersed. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like that, it's a lot of lyrics to unpack in that. And basically talking about he that guy. He's like what the F you mean and stuff. And basically talking about he's going psycho and seeing red a lot of time. I'm like, oh, hold up. Referring to going cyber psycho. That's the title of the song. Like I already know that's corny to realize that, but come on, bro. It's the name. Cause yeah, that's part of the thing. That's the consequence I was talking about for anyone who's seen the show. The more parts you get, the more you get upgraded and stuff, you start to lose yourself. And I love how they talk about all the weapons and junk. And then the second verse, he like cuts it off, transitions like, warning, you're at full capacity. And like, now, warning, you're going psycho. And he basically kept talking about talk about stuff in duffel bags and all that. I'm like, ooh. And he was making the gun sounds, talk about catching bodies. And then the other sounds where it's the cha-ching instead of a gunshot. He's like talking about getting the bag. I'm like, ooh. Ooh. And he's like, man, I'm already losing myself, so why should I be afraid to feel horrible, be afraid of killing? I'm like, ooh. I'm like, hold up. Cause yeah, that's eventually how the main character got after a while. After he started getting all the upgrades, he started feeling less and less remorse when it came to killing people. Cause he was going psycho. That's kind of the point, you know? Man. So I kind of like that. I love how they talk about his life at the end and talk about how he had his life and ended it, and it said simulation ending on the screen, and then all you see is just what's the dude's name? Atom Smasher. Where he essentially was that Atom Smasher's gun or was that just a random gun? And he just shoots him in the head. I know the main character's name is like David. I know that already. And then seeing and hearing the gunshot, I'm like, oh. I'm like, yeah. For those who know, that is how the protagonist of the show was put to an end. Man, this show was phenomenal, man. And Zeppelin Beats, I can tell from that logo, bro. He was working on this too. Oh my gosh. This was a fire production. Just absolute greatness. Every time. And there was another part where he was cooking up. He wasn't like flipping the words. Something about Bedlam or something. I think right after that, that's when he did the switch. I think that's when he did the switch to the madness part. Cyber Psycho seeing red. And got the red lines and stuff like that. I'm like, ooh. But man, this was absolutely amazing. Great job to Daddyphatsnaps. I know he ain't in the title, but great job to Zeppelin Beats and everyone else who worked on this track. This show was absolutely amazing, y'all. Fantastic job. Alright, y'all. The next video will either be the next weekly rap reactions or the next random video, which is the Yuji Itadori rap song, I Don't Want to Be Alone by Dizzy 8 featuring Mix Williams. So yeah, be prepared for one of those two options in the next video. This is the end of the video, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe if you do happen to like my content. I appreciate any support that I get, and it's SSG Lil, y'all. I'm out. Peace.